I brought this rope with me today because it's one of humanity's oldest inventions. It gave our ancestors the freedom to reimagine who they were and also to achieve things that they never imagined. I'm going to tell you a story today about what a rope like this did for me. See, going to school in Spain felt like walking on a tightrope. I was a figure skater and I got good grades. It's a pretty bad combo in Spain, so I got bullied. And keeping the balance between trying to be who I was and trying to be who others wanted me to be was very hard. So I used my creativity to build an armor. I started DJing, filmmaking, designing websites, and by pure serendipity, at age 16, I started my first company. We wanted to fulfill this crazy dream of launching a smartphone after Steve Jobs had launched his, 2008, 2009. I knew one thing. I knew that we needed a factory. And there was this big event in Barcelona happening a month after called Mobile World Congress. So I had to go there by myself. I asked my parents for permission, and God bless them, they said yes. But I was completely unprepared to do whatever I had to do ahead of me. I remember sitting on the train, my first solo trip ever. I remember being in front of a convention center and just wearing this Zara blazer I had just bought for $40, 40 euros, that made me sweat a lot. But it was not the blazer, it was how terrified I was, even though it was February. I remember standing by the gate and not having a ticket because even if I could afford it, which I couldn't, I was not even allowed to buy one. It was a professional event. I am not allowed to remember how I managed to get an employee pass, but minutes later, I was coming through the back door, and somehow we pulled it off. I met with executives. Some of them were a bit wary, some of them were kind of encouraging, and a few months later, we were back in Barcelona presenting the first European Android phone ever. But this story is not about that. It's about something else. I came back home, and I felt like a grown-up. I felt like an adult. And I couldn't be more mistaken. Because, I think we've built society on a fallacy that becoming an adult is a byproduct of growing up, of just age, or maybe hitting a professional milestone. Psychologist Robert Kegan, Harvard, showed us a few decades ago that that is not quite true. That yes, our brain evolves biologically with time, but our sense of identity, our sense of self, it's not like that. It's kind of like a mountain. You have to climb it. And yes, there are some ledges, but there are also some walls, and some walls that many people never manage to go above. Actually, in his early studies 30 years ago, he proved that 65% of adults are stuck somewhere in the middle, somewhere kind of dangerous, called the socialized mind. That's where I was. My entire sense of self was derived from my relationship with other people. I defined who I was based on what other people thought of me, and also by my role in society. This happens to a lot of people. A lot of people define themselves by being a parent, by being a CEO, by the friendships that they have. The trick of this, the problem, is that you're letting your past and your stories of what made you define your present, and also the anxieties about what's coming next in your future. We live in complicated times. We have a mental health epidemic. We have big political polarization. And a lot of people blame this to social media, to the smartphone, to all these platforms. I believe that's not quite true. And the reason I'm standing here is because I believe the true biggest unspoken problem of our times is a crisis of identity. Is that 65% of adults that Robert Kegan pointed at that are still stuck in the middle of the mountain. So that's why I'm here. And, social media phones, they're an accelerant, but I believe the true source of the fire is something else. It's the fact that our ropes are fraying. Not these ropes, talking about ROPEs, rite of passage experiences, a different type of rope. We also invented them tens of thousands of years ago. And I like the metaphor of a rope because they kind of work like that. Someone else is already ahead in the climb, and they throw us a line, they throw us a rope, and we hold into it, and we depart the place that we're standing on. We lift ourselves up, And it's hard. There's friction. It burns. It has to burn. Without friction, we cannot defy gravity. And there's some dangers. Maybe we're dangling in the void. And even though we may be climbing along with other people, it's kind of our own journey. Finally, as we reach the end, a friendly hand pulls us up. When we're on top, we see eye to eye with the person that was helping us. We're now on the same level. So the other people that were climbing with us, we celebrate. And that's a rite of passage. Now, in the day we live in, we have echoes of that. We have a lot of them, actually. You have the bar mitzvahs and the first communions. You have the driving license test, actually probably the most effective one. You also have graduations. You have commencements. You have onboardings. You have firings. You have so many things that once upon a time we created. But when was the last time? Ask yourselves, when was the last time you witnessed one of these? And actually, the person going through that was going through a major challenge. It's not that common. Take a modern wedding, for example. Weddings used to be massive thresholds. You left your parents' home, you're having sex for the first time. It's a big thing. But now, couples, which is great, they're walking down the aisle after living together for 1 or 2 years. They're celebrating a life they're already in. And that's beautiful. It's an important ceremony. It's a celebration, but it's not a rite of passage. And when you hollow out the meaning of these processes, you have a problem. Two things happen. One is that you may have a traumatic event, and that's your initiation, and that can be very problematic from a mental health perspective. And second is that humans do what they always do. In the absence of a rite of passage, they self-initiate. That's why you see dangerous TikTok challenges. That's why children start smoking or hazing happens. That's why a midlife crisis turns out in just blowing everything up. It's just an internal voice inside of us telling us, I have to change. I need to prove that I'm alive. Because of that, 2 years ago, I started a new company called Pandora's Way to help parents navigate this big threshold of giving their kids the first phone. And you know what? We couldn't get parents to do it. We had to change our model to do something much simpler, helping them have better conversations at home. Also important, but not quite the same thing. Why did we fail? Well, there's this paradox where parents are hardwired to provide safety to their kids. They cannot be the safety net and at the same time architect danger. It's not quite right. But more importantly, they're alone. And it truly takes a village. It takes teachers, it takes coaches, it takes family friends, it takes uncles, it takes elders. And I'm here today talking to you because you can be the new elders. You can be that figure. Whether you're a whether you're a CEO or you're a manager, you're a teacher, you're a principal, you are a parent, or you're a family friend or an uncle, you can play that role. You and I share a hidden point in our job descriptions that is unspoken. We're architects of identity because we interact with people when they're going through big thresholds, big changes in their lives. When you hire someone, it's a pretty big threshold. When you graduate someone, it's a big threshold. When a kid leaves home, that's a big threshold. And the way we tackle these things is not quite right. It's not very good. We give a certificate, you do some HR forms, they give you a laptop, they fire you, they take it away. It's not quite good. So if I leave you with something today, is with this message. It's not that hard. It's not that hard because we all know how to do it. Why? If you ever read an adventure novel, if you watched a blockbuster, it's all in there because it's such an essential structure. It's something we've been doing for so long that is inherent to the human nature. Take Harry Potter, for example. I'll give you a step-by-step guide on how to create a rope. The first step is separation. You leave, or you make the person leave the plane of existence where they inhabit. You go somewhere else. Zara does this very, very well. Whenever Zara hires an executive, they actually send them to the store to fold t-shirts for 3 weeks. It's a new space, it feels weird, it feels different, but it's important. In Harry Potter, Harry is literally kidnapped and sent to Hogwarts. It's a magical, weird space, but that creates a sense of adventure and camaraderie. The second step is liminality. In this weird space, this new environment, there's new challenges. We need to acquire new skills and dispositions. parents in New York are starting to send their kids on the subway when they're 8 or 9. I think that's great. It's not that unsafe. Harry Potter had a much worse time. He had to learn magic and then fight Voldemort and then kill him and then wait till the second book and then do it again and again and again. The third one, though, is the most important, is the return. Once they've conquered the challenge, go back to where they were. Kind of the same person, but the status has changed, the recognition changed. Doctors do this fantastically. We give them a new title and we give them a coat. It's public recognition. It's great. It's important. We do the same with judges. Some things haven't changed in many, many years. Harry Potter, well, the entire house of Gryffindor gets accolades, and then he keeps the same haircut, but he goes back home to his family. He's a different person. When I left to Barcelona, I had my departure. I experienced the liminal space of the business world, scary world, still scary today, for some time, but I never had my return. I never had it. When I went back home, I still went to my classroom. I still got bullied in class, even though I was there. Even when I was on TV, I got bullied in class for being on TV. I was still in my space of the socialized mind. And there's a reason why it's taken me 10 years to be back on a TEDx stage. After selling my second company, I slipped into years of like mild depression, stagnation. Thank God I had great friends and my family, both my parents are therapists. They caught me. I had a safety net. But I think I'm not alone. I think there's many people that experience the same thing, many points in their lives. Luckily, some time ago, someone threw me a rope. It was my Harvard professor, Ron Heifetz, who actually was a colleague of Keegan, Dr. Keegan. He created an environment, a structure, where actually I could take a peek at the next phase beyond the socialized mind, the self-authoring mind. It's not the top of the peak, very few people reach there, but for the first time, you actually realize that you can define who you are from within. Nothing else matters. All your past experiences, all whatever fears or desires you have for the future, it's just part of the complex ecosystem inside of you, but you're so much more than that. And that freedom, that ability to live the present, not conditioned by the past or the future, is truly, truly what allows us to reach our biggest human potential. So I'm very grateful to him and the other people that were with me in that journey. I want to end by just encouraging you to do this, to learn the art, one of the most ancient professions of rope making. It's not too hard. This talk is 12 minutes, maybe not enough, but if you find yourself lost, just watch Star Wars. George Lucas actually created a beautiful manual on how to do this. He knew about all of this all along. I'll end just by saying that this is one of our lowest hanging fruits. This is something that you can do tomorrow to change someone's life around you. So come climb with me in the mountain. Climb your own path and help others that are somewhere else, because we cannot expect society to do this for us. We are society. It's something that relies on us. So if I ask you if you grab my rope, would you do it? Yes? Great. I'll see you along the way.